fight in this city immigration. President Obama promised to get some immigration reform, gave a big speech up at American University. I actually went and listened to it. We didn't get immigration reform. However, he did better against Governor Romney with the Hispanic vote, 71%, up a couple ticks from 2008. Senator McCain did better. The Republican Party seems to gets about 29% of the Hispanic vote. What's with your party? Why don't Hispanics want to vote with your party?
Well, there's no doubt Republicans, we got to do a better job in the Hispanic community.
Well, what does that mean?
I think so far Republicans have been lousy at communicating our ideas in the Hispanic community. And I think the irony is the values in the Hispanic community are fundamentally conservative.
But that's what Governor Susana Martinez said in her speech at the RNC, that she didn't, that she herself had been a Democrat till she had lunch with a Republican. Then she said something like, "Wow, I'm a Republican" or something. So the values, but the Hispanics, they don't buy it. At least they didn't in the election.
Well, in this election, they didn't, because Democrats did a far better job communicating their message than we did. But, you mentioned Governor Martinez and the National Convention. The contrast of the Republican and Democrat conventions were striking. At the Republican conventions, there were 4 statewide elected officials or candidates who were Hispanic. Susana Martinez and Brian Sandoval, both governors, and then Marco Rubio and myself. The Democrats had 0. And I think the reason is there's a difference in how the parties approach Hispanics. Unfortunately, the Democrats pigeonhole candidates, and so they had mayors, they had members of Congress, but they got a real problem getting Hispanics elected statewide, because when you pigeonhole a candidate, you're not able to have candidates that appeal broadly to Americans, not just to one ethnicity, but to values that bring us all together. And I think that shows a lot of promise for the direction the Republican Party can go in the future.
Isn't it the I word, though, immigration? I mean, a lot of people vote for a single issue. For a long time, people voted on the issue of abortion, or people voted because there's a woman candidate or an African-American candidate, a lot of that. But the immigration issue has been such an important issue to the Hispanic community. Do you think that's what drives the vote, or drove the last one? And if so, what would you like to see your party do on that?
I actually don't think it is immigration that's driving the vote. I think the Democrats want immigration to drive the vote, and they're using it as a wedge issue to try to scare the Hispanic community. And I think tone matters. I think Republicans' tone on immigration needs to be improved. But I'll tell you, every poll I've ever seen of the Hispanic community shows their #1 issue is jobs in the economy, exactly like the rest of this country. What Republicans didn't do a good job of is taking the message to the Hispanic community. If you want opportunity, under Barack Obama, Hispanic unemployment grew faster than unemployment generally, went over 10%.
Then how come he got more Hispanic vote? I mean, is it really such a bad message delivery service by Governor Romney? Is it, or they didn't pay attention?
Unfortunately, yes. I mean, we didn't make the argument to the Hispanic community that the path to opportunity. There are 2.3 million Hispanics who are small business owners. Nearly 1 in 10 Hispanic households in this country is a small business owner. The avenue to advancement, when my dad came 55 years ago from Cuba, he washed dishes making 50 cents an hour, couldn't speak English, but he was able to start a small business. That has been the path to advancement. And what Republicans should have been doing is far more effectively championing small business as the path to climbing the economic ladder. That has been the American dream, and we've got to be more effective in carrying that message.